Francis Atwoli had a very busy schedule over the weekend. On Saturday, the Kotu Secretary General led a high-powered delegation of loyal leaders to Kabarak for a meeting with Gideon Moi. The delegation included the ODM Duty Party leader, the Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. It also included the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution Eugene Wamalwa. It included the Majority Whip Emmanuel Wangwe and the Budalangi Member of Parliament Raphael Wanjala. And that meeting also caused a storm in this country. And yesterday, Ndugu Francis Atwoli also hosted a high-level delegation at his home in Kajiado. That delegation included the ODM party leader Raila Odinga. It also included Peter Kenneth, David Murathe, Makwiny, and James Orengo. And because all these guys are politicians, the questions which Kenyans were asking is, what were the objectives of this specific meeting? So today I want us to look at the possible objective of the meeting in Kajiado yesterday. But before we do that, if you're watching this video for the first time, I want you to take a second or two and click subscribe button so that next time we produce a similar video, YouTube will automatically notify you. So you ensure you click subscribe and then check on the notification button. Now back to the main issue. Raila Odinga went to Dubai for medical surgery. He came back after a few weeks. And the past 2 weeks, Raila Odinga has been at the coast. And there has been speculations, especially being peddled by Tanga Tanga and Miguna, that Raila Odinga had a stroke. And yesterday, Raila Odinga appeared publicly with Francis Atwoli and the group. So what was the political significance of that meeting? In my view, Atwoli hosted this meeting probably because of several reasons. But before we get into those reasons, the presence of Peter Kenneth in this meeting and the presence of David Murathe at this meeting is significant, politically speaking. And something tells me that the Muranga people have also decided that they must have leadership of this country. Either Peter Kenneth is likely to be a running mate, or the Muranga group are pushing for one of their own to be the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya in 2022. But what were the objectives of this particular meeting? Number one, something tells me that this meeting was all about lunch meeting. So Francis Atwoli is known to host people for lunch. And because Raila Odinga is his friend and Raila Odinga has been away, and we all know that since he came to Dubai, Raila Odinga was just with the family, and then from the family, he was at the coast. And then from coast, Raila Odinga returned yesterday and flew direct to Ndugu Francis Atwoli's residence. So something tells me that Atwoli just wanted to host Raila Odinga for lunch. And because he wanted to host Raila Odinga for lunch, he called James Orengo, who is a close ally of Raila Odinga and almost his age mate. He called David Murathe, who is also a key player within the political circles. Then David Murathe came with Peter Kenneth and Makwiny. So I want to believe that the main objective of this meeting was purely for the lunch meeting. And because it was a lunch meeting and these guys are politicians, they must have discussed politics of this country, specifically the Building Bridges Initiative and the 2022 general election. Number two, something also tells me that Francis Atwoli is playing a key role in crafting a super alliance for this team. And that's why Atwoli was very busy over the weekend. The trip to Moi's place, residence, yesterday was significant, politically speaking. And again, the presence of Peter Kenneth at that meeting was also significant, politically speaking. So I'm trying to imagine that there is a move, especially in the camp of Kileweke, to craft a super alliance which is going to take on any other group which is going to emerge for the purposes of 2022 general election. Because we know Central Kenya is going to play a key role in 2022 general election. Because they have the numbers, they can't produce a president, and they must also be guided, and the president himself comes from that particular area. So something tells me that Francis Atwoli is the guy charged with the responsibility of crafting a super alliance. And I want to observe the moves by Francis Atwoli, especially this coming week. Who else is Atwoli going to meet? Or who else is going to come for a meeting at Ndugu Francis Atwoli's residence in Kajiado? So those are some of the things that are convincing me that Atwoli is actually being given the responsibility of crafting this deal. Remember, Atwoli has a deep pocket. If he's assigned a responsibility or if he just decides to do it himself as Francis Atwoli, he can, because he has the deep pocket. Atwoli can host people at his home. Atwoli can fund activities without any problem. So something tells me that there is talks about a super alliance which is going to come up. Number 3, something also tells me that part of this meeting was to discuss the revenue allocation formula, which was defeated at the Senate last week. That discussion, that debate is coming up in Parliament tomorrow. So will Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga be embarrassed again? And what are the implications of that bill on the politics of Raila Odinga, on the BBI, and also on 2022 general election? If it passes, how is it going to affect these guys? And if there are any changes to be made to that particular bill, what are these changes? And are they going to consider the politics of BBI and 2020 general election? That's something which I am sure was discussed in this particular meeting, because the presence of Orengo, who is the minority whip, actually can confirm to me that it was discussed. Remember, during the debate, Orengo actually sought for an adjournment so that there could be an agreement before finally people agreed on the way forward. But James Orengo motion, which was seconded by the Bungoma senator, Moses Wetangula, was actually thrown out or defeated by around 40-7 votes. So I'm sure James Orengo is part of a team that were advocating for further discussions. So I'm sure that further discussions probably was discussed here. So probably because Raila Odinga was at the coast, I want to assume he met with the coast senators, and the coast senators agreed with him probably on some of the changes or the win-win situation they are willing to take. And I'm sure James Orengo, also being the minority whip, must have talked with the other senators, and he had a message for Raila Odinga on how to move the country forward. And because David Murathe was also there, David Murathe represent President Uhuru Kenyatta. Don't be cheated. Because the other thing is, these guys could have met at Ndugu Francis Atwoli's home. And after that meeting, they would have just gone home without taking photos. So why were the photos taken? And why were they circulated? They were circulated to achieve specific political objectives. Number 4, I think it was about the Building Bridges Initiative campaign. BBI had taken the right direction for them, according to them. But the pandemic came. So everything was thrown into confusion. So I'm sure this meeting must have discussed how they are going to progress the Building Bridges Initiative campaigns. Remember, there were timelines in that Building Bridges Initiative campaign. And the other fact is, if those timelines will not be met, then it would mean that it cannot proceed. But the other question is, if it won't proceed, will this particular pandemic, which is making it not to proceed, also affect the presidential election? Those are questions which Kenyans are asking, because already schools have been suspended for 1 year. So are we going to suspend Uhuru Kenyatta's stay in office? Because the constitution actually provides that the term of a president can be suspended. I mean, can be extended if there are calamities like the ones the ones we are witnessing today in this country. So these guys must have discussed the Building Bridges initiative. And lastly, the Peter Kenneth factor must have been discussed in this table, on the table. And that's why of all those photos which were shared, there was one photo which was also circulated. The one where Raila Odinga and Peter Kenneth were there, only 2 people. You've not seen the photo of Peter Kenneth and Atwoli alone. You've not seen the photo of, say, Peter Kenneth and Orengo, or Orengo and Atwoli alone. We've only seen the group photo where all these guys are. And then the next photo we saw was that of Peter Kenneth and Raila Odinga. So that photo was actually intended also to send a message to you and me that there's a possibility of Peter Kenneth, Raila Odinga's ticket. Because the politics of Central Kenya is also very interesting. It has started taking shape. Then everything was again thrown into confusion. Of all those who want to be the running mate on the other side, are all on the other side of William Ruto. On this other side, there was the factor of Uhuru, who was emerging as a strong possible running mate to Raila Odinga. But what has happened to Uhuru? Uhuru currently is still dealing with the issue of Kenyatta. And from all indications, Uhuru might not survive. Even if she will survive, she's already dented. So she might not emerge strongly as a possible running mate to anybody. But the other guy on the other side is Mutahi Kagwe. Mutahi Kagwe has not come openly. And then the other guy is the former Meru governor, the Peter Munya. But I'm not seeing Peter Munya coming out very strongly to defend his territory. On the other side, we have Moses Kuria. I don't think he qualifies to be a running mate for William Ruto. Then there is Mwangi Kiunjuri, who I think qualifies to be the running mate to the deputy president. But again, the deputy president will have a challenge of getting a running mate from Central Kenya. But Raila Odinga can get a running mate from Central Kenya, because if Raila Odinga gets a running mate from Central Kenya, what it would mean is that the people of Central Kenya, because they understand power, might decide to go for that ticket. Because one thing I know for sure is that Kalonzo is going to run, Murathe is going to run, Ruto is going to run, Raila Odinga might also run. So in that, if those 4 guys will run, then the possibility of none of them meeting the 50+1% is going to be very high. So at the end of the day, people will have to go back, sit down and agree on the possibility of one thing. The possibility of alliance after the general election. So Kalonzo might decide to support Ruto, or he might be convinced to support Raila. Murathe might decide to support Ruto after that, or he might decide to support Raila Odinga. So it's going to be a very tricky situation. So I'm sure the Peter Kenneth factor was part of this deal. What role is Peter Kenneth going to play? What role is Peter Kenneth going to play in 2022 general election, especially in Raila Odinga's side? Thank you guys, and if you're watching this video for the first time, please, I want you to take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And don't just click subscribe, remember to also click the notification. And again, to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys. You've been amazing. Last month was an amazing month. We've seen growth last month. Although the subscribers were not very high in that month, but the numbers of views increased. The people who shared the videos increased. It was only possible because you guys decided to support the channel. So continue supporting the channel by just sharing the videos, dropping your comments, and also giving the videos thumbs up or thumbs down. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys, and let's meet again in the next video.